Christian Borle. Oh no, Christian Borle. Hold on. Christian Wonka. Oh no, Christian Wonka. Are you okay? He's been wounded, Elaine.
Oh no! What happened?
It's the war. The war of the Wonka from the West has come to attack the wicked Wonka of the West. This one's got a mean mustache.
Oh.
A real mean mustache, and nobody really likes him.
I mean, that's a big claim right there.
And he's coming for revenge to Christian Wonka for outselling the musical he originated.
Oh, snap.
We've got a Wonka war on our hands. Blah, 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 blah. I genuinely cannot believe we have not made a Wonka war reference. That's insane.
Hey, Felicia, what's this episode about?
So this episode is about West End Wonka.
What's a West End?
It's UK Broadway, British people. I'm going to be honest with you guys. We have gone through the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory plot perhaps more times than anyone should on this earth. And it's wearing on us. And I think this is the last one we have to do. Thank God.
We literally spent how much? Almost an hour before this episode, just like friendly chatting as we do. But as the longer we talked, we realized we're putting off recording this. And it's simply because we have done this canon so many times. Like, so
and I'm going to be honest, I don't really know what happened during this musical. I watched it. It was genuinely 2 hours. But, like, I don't feel like I watched it. I did. No, like I took incredibly detailed notes, but I didn't absorb it.
I was exactly. I was like, I watched it.
Did we reach
notes.
The Wonka threshold?
Maybe we just were like, I already downloaded what to say. Because, like, the title of my notes, I don't even fucking know what's going on. West End Act 1 notes, capital A random rich person. I think something got wrong. But like I did take notes and I was trying to pay attention to it. Clearly we had to watch it when we bought our tickets to go see this.
Yeah, we time traveled back to 2014.
Yeah.
And
how old were you in 2014?
Elaine and I went to go see it when I was 11. And how old were you in 2014? You would have been like
14.
You would have been 20.
I would have been 20.
So 20-year-old Elaine and 11-year-old Felicia went to go together, and we saw it. And
it was our fun babysitting adventure.
We got balcony seats.
And then they offered us those opera glasses, but it turns out they were all cracked and filmy. So when we watched this, it wasn't the best quality as opposed to when we got to see Christian Borle live. So I think it is a fair thing to throw out that, like, I also feel like I didn't watch this, even though I did. But like, I think also just the quality wasn't there as well.
Yeah,
I wasn't
privy to the nuance that we were of Christian Borle Wonka.
Yes. Yeah.
And also the opera glasses were really fucked up and had some time distortion on them. So at some points, like, they just skipped the full 10 minutes. So
yeah, they had this weird make you black out quality, and suddenly you'd be like, what happened to Augustus Gloop? You know,
but
what
you were
happened
like
to that?
Kind of happy about it. Kind of happy.
You're like, we're getting closer to it being done. Even though we had paid tickets to go.
I'll be honest, I watched this at like 2.5 speed. I made the actors go faster.
I have never done. I realized I was like, I forgot I can do this. I'm going to speed up this video because I can't do this right now.
So you may ask, why the fuck are we watching it again? Didn't you already watch the musical? But here's the thing, guys. Originally, this musical first showed up on the West End, and there were major changes made when it got imported to the US. And we decided it would be best and in our duty as Wonka scholars to watch both versions. And I will say, it was majorly different. Like, I will give it that. Yes. This was a very different experience to watching Christian Wonka. But before we get fully into today's episode, what's this on the playbill? It's one of these little inserts that's going to fall out on the floor, and I'm never going to find it again because it's dark in the theater, and I'm just putting my grubby little hands, and I touch a Mike and Ike, and I want to barf. But like, what's this?
Whoa, it looks so shiny.
It's the fallout piece of paper from the playbill, and what's in it is articles from 2014. Because guys, nothing is fucking happening in the Wonkaverse. So I looked up news about this fucking musical.
I love it.
But I will say, this did enlighten me and made me kind of understand how this became the way it was and some of the intentions behind it, which I think was very helpful. So I found a New York Times article where they talked to a bunch of people from the production back in 2013. So the article basically starts saying that the audience members were visibly most excited when Pure Imagination gets sung, because one of the major retools that happened is that this version includes no songs from the 1971 musical except for Pure Imagination. Whereas the Christian Borle one is a little bit more, I guess it uses it more. So they use Pure Imagination in the candy scene, the candy room scene, and they sing the Candyman at the beginning. It's really not that much, to be honest. I will say the song they replaced Pure Imagination with in this, it was a choice. it was a choice. I think Pure Imagination would have been better.
Because it sounded like close enough to being it, and then it wasn't it. And you're like, this could have just been another song with it, you know?
So everyone was kind of expecting them to do more 1971 songs, and then when they didn't, they got really excited when Pure Imagination comes on very late in the show. And this version, it happens when they're on the glass elevator, which was a fucking bummer, because the View from Up Here song and the Borle musical is my favorite. It's so good. It's a really good song. But anyway, the director feared that this would happen and was really scared to do anything too similar to 1971. He even said he felt haunted by Gene Wonka's performance, which is something I understand.
That's fair, yeah.
I don't know what this guy's relation to the show was, but he's named Mr. Kaufman. He said, he said we
Mr.
want the
Kaufman.
musical to be a companion piece to the other Chocolate Factory properties, not a souvenir. So using more songs from the first movie is not a part of our plan. An American audience might be a little different from here, so we might change things to suit that audience. This was in regards to moving it to the US. And they did change things. For the better, in my opinion. None of the people who worked on this really grew up with the 1971 movie, and the guys who wrote Hairspray, Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman, were the people who wrote the music for this, which I didn't know.
Wow.
And there was a quote from them that was kind of confusingly put, but if I'm understanding it correctly, Whitman implied that Shaman holds a grudge against Pure Imagination and thinks of it as the song he could have written better, which is fucking dramatic.
Whoa.
Which, to be fair, if that resulted in the View from Up Here, he's kind of right. But it's still pretty intense. The playwright David Gregg wrote the show strictly with children in mind, which cleared up a lot of things for me. Because I was like, this feels like it is exclusively for children. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I watched it, I was like, this is a children's musical. Not that the Broadway one wasn't, but there was a little bit more, hey, there are adults in the audience. Let's make this at least a little bit entertaining.
Interesting.
I also learned that this was directed by Sam Mendes, which is fucking crazy. Because do you know what he directed?
No.
American Beauty, Skyfall, the James Bond film,
Those are all
and
very,
1917, the war film. He's known for his dark imaginings of stage musicals, and he directed that version of Cabaret I talked about, and we had to cut out of the podcast.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Interesting choice. Interesting.
It's interesting. So the guy who played Willy Wonka, Douglas Hodge, his influences were Charlie Chaplin and Michael Jackson. As he mulled the affect and tone of the elusive man-child Wonka, he too tried to block out Wilder. Which I feel like he, in an attempt to avoid Wilder, went so far in another fucking direction. Because, I thought I'd really seen it all when it came to Wonka performances, and this one took me off guard. But not in a good way, unfortunately. This is what he said. When you're in front of a 2,500 theaters full of children, there's a specific energy required for Wonka to be the motor of a stage musical. There had to be a point where I said, this has to be absolutely mine. And Sam was always urging me, don't be afraid of the darkness in the character, which I also think is particular to this musical. Which I think enlightened me a lot about what the director was telling him to do, because he was focused on children. And the director was urging him to lean into the darkness, which perfectly explains why I felt like I was watching fucking Scar from The Lion King. I was like, this is a Disney villain. This is not a Wonka. This is just a Disney villain. His performance is very much like a Disney villain, non-layered. I don't want to hang out with this guy, which is kind of difficult because then he gets a sympathetic song. You're like, am I supposed to like him?
I have so many feelings about the end of this thing.
Oh, the ending of this is fucked up, guys.
Fucking wait. That's
Guys.
actually, those are the most notes I have, and I vividly remember that part. That is the one thing that really stands out to me from this. So just you wait. Get your tea starting boiling.
I also looked at a critical review of it that came out at the time, which is the funniest line from it, which was by Ben Brantley, was, "The scenery performs more than the cast members. Mark Thompson is the exhaustingly fertile set and costume designer." But the sets in this do slap. The sets are the best part of this.
It's so funny because that is a thought I had at one point. I was like, these sets are doing better than the actual musical itself right now. You know, like...
The thing is, this was a pretty mixed to positive review. The score and the storytelling received a lot of criticism, but it currently holds the record for the highest weekly gross in the West End, with an income of over £1 million during the week commencing the 30th of December of 2013.
Wow.
Which is pretty good. It won Best Costume Design and Lighting Design at the Olivier Awards, which is the UK's Tonys. So, something. So let's get into this musical. We start off Act 1, very different, with a video animation about the most important thing in the world, which is chocolate. It's very focused on the chocolate bean, giving kind of a tutorial on chocolate making, which is like weirdly educational. That feels like a theme park ride pre-show.
Yeah. And Felicia, how important is that to the rest of the musical?
Never shows up again. Really did not need to be there.
Didn't help with the plot. I thought it was about to be a cool thing where they're like, you know how they'll do funny things where they're like, please turn off your phone or we'll kill you. You know, like I just thought it was going to be something fun with the chocolate bean.
It really felt like a pre-show ride, like a pre-show for a ride. It also reminded me of a special features you would watch on a Disney DVD as a kid.
Yes,
very much.
We know
had,
you're obsessed with those.
I love a special feature. If you haven't watched Your Friend the Rat, are you really living?
Oh my God. I have in my notes, I had written like 2, because I'd like watched the Bean video and I was like, oh, it's going to be like this, huh? And so they did the next song. And then I have this note, but back to the fucking Bean intro. I highlighted it. I had a lot of
intro so weird.
There were definitely things throughout this musical I felt like could have been cut, and that's one of them. Because I don't think that like brought the excitement. Like you're not like I think when you enter this thing, you need to be level 10 and go.
I don't think there was anything about this where I was like, man, they should have kept that in the redo. Like there was nothing where I was like, yeah, I see why you lost that. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yep.
The lady who sells chocolate and is mean about the whole thing is back. So she's a fun returning character. But then we get our first song, Almost Perfect by Charlie. So instead of singing about Wonka, in this version, he is a trash scavenger, like a little junkyard rat, and is showing an old man, who I presume to be disguised Wonka, all the cool things he finds in the trash. So Charlie in this version is not specifically wanting to be a chocolatier. He more wants to be an inventor. More vaguely.
Your trash is my treasure now, as he says.
This song, I will say, this song is better than Charlie's song where he just like extols the virtues of Willy Wonka for 4 minutes. I prefer this.
Yeah, same. It kind of showed more of like scrappy, imaginative vibe to him.
I will say, Doug Wonka, which I am not going to be referring to him from here on out, is our oldest Wonka, I believe, in canon. He was in his 50s when they performed this. Which I guess is just like a fun tidbit.
We should probably talk about what he looks like specifically.
Oh,
in this.
yeah.
Because that's very important. He looks probably most like what Book Wonka would have been like. And I have an enlarged photo of him I would like to add because I just wanted to see, because I hadn't Googled it. And they put down people starring in this version. So they put down Douglas Hodge, and the second person starring it is Wonka Bar. Douglas Hodge, actor, Wonka Bar, chocolate bar. What the fuck?
Wait,
like,
what?
damn.
Where was this
fuck you to all.
listed?
Oh my God, I'll take a screenshot real quick.
That's incredible.
Yeah, they're just like, here's the people incled. Oh wait, hold on.
Wonka bar, chocolate bar.
I was like, what? Okay,
and playing the Wonka bar is the chocolate bar.
I was like, wow, fuck you to everyone else who was like in that musical, right?
Literally. That's really funny.
Why does it have its own credit? Like, it's so stupid.
That's stupid. All right.
That was the most exciting thing to happen from this musical. Just kidding. Am I?
You're not wrong. Okay, so now we get the next song, which is The Amazing Fantastical History of Mr. Willy Wonka by the Grandparents. So Charlie gaslights his grandparents and says that they've never told him about Wonka, which is just a complete lie from what I understand.
Yeah.
And what I did appreciate about this, instead of it just being Grandpa Joe, they used all the grandparents, which made it so that you cared a little less about Grandpa Joe, but it was fun. I liked this song. It was a jaunty tune. The bed split and it moved around on its own, which was cool. The video was from really far away, so you can't see much. And
my video, because the set design from the way that our opera glasses look like from far away, I described it as looking like a volcano from Zelda.
It was very elaborate.
That vibe. But my favorite part leading into this song is like Charlie's like, tell me more. And the grandparents literally fucking hate telling him this story. They're like, we just don't fucking want to. Like, I agree. I really like the grandparents in this version as well. Because the sass factor was so good. And they have the bed choreography. That sounds dirty, but the bed splits. So it's like all the grandparents are in their own like bed dancing and shit.
My only gripe with all that is I thought it was super fun and great to watch, but some of the elaborateness of the set and the costume designing and having like an entire ensemble join in with every song kind of makes you forget that the Buckets are incredibly poor and have no resources.
Yes.
Like, I was like, their house looks fucking incredible. Like, and I know it's for kids and whimsical, but like it did not hit in the same way that it's supposed to in all the other versions, because later the way they stage all the kids songs where they're like getting interviewed by news reporters is they're staged within a giant TV, which is the Bucket family TV. And their TV is the size of the stage, which is cool.
Yeah.
But you're like, this doesn't, I know I'm supposed to buy into the whimsy and it's a stage musical and it doesn't have to make sense, but like it did not work. That part, I was like, that could have used a rewrite.
I think the TV screen really took away actually from those numbers as well. Like it was just kind of boring. And when they, I was just thinking about this, when the grandparents are telling the story, they do all the classic Prince Pondicelli, whatever, but they talk about how the princess fucking drowned in chocolate, which I think is when they say, quote, the chocolate femme fatale is a quote from this fucking song, which blows my mind.
I will say this production seemed to embrace some of the racist stereotype stuff from Dolls of Work, which was not fun. I was a little bit, I feel like we could have revised that.
2014 was a different time.
Okay, but we do also need to talk about Grandma Georgina. Because there's a lyric that says, yes, Mr. Willy Wonka. And then Grandma Georgina says, he has a sex appeal that makes me feel young. There, I said it. And let me say that Mr. Willy Wonka whips a swirl that makes a girl go wild. He does. That is real lyrics from this musical.
Now, here's my thing, Felicia. How would you feel if those lyrics were in the Christian Borle version? Would it be okay? I would have said
agreed.
Same.
I would have said agreed.
I was just thinking about that. I was
I still would have taken issue that it was in there.
Yes.
I say this with no rudeness to Doug Wonka. I think this is the least sexy Wonka, in my opinion.
I mean, they didn't do him any favors with like the facial stuff. Like he has a very like drawn on mustache and
he's
like
kind of creepy, but not in a fun way.
And like it's not like the Wonka outfits are ever flattering either. So like that's just what they did. But anyway, I was just gonna say that like Christian Borle aside, Christian Wonka, I feel like that would have fit more of his character to have that line with him because of the chaos. And we also have someone flirting with him later on. Because I don't think the flirting happens in this version.
It's a weird choice for Doug Wonka. I don't look at Doug Wonka and go, oh, he's a sex symbol in this universe.
Yeah.
Whereas Christian Wonka, definitely moms have the hots for Christian Wonka. There's no fucking...
So, yeah, that one line is whatever. However, I do actually still enjoy it. I'm like, whoa, okay.
We got a Fickle Grubber mentioned in the song. Mentioned once, just got a name shout out. Very exciting.
Fickle Grubber and I were so excited.
So now, here's the big shocker. Charlie's dad is alive.
Charlie's dad is alive.
Things are crazy. He's got both parents.
I wrote down a father. Oh, next bullet point. I was just wondering now how bad the dad song was going to be, but never mind because he's here. But no worries, because they still do the same fucking song.
That originally happened with song in the musical.
Yeah, so just as a quick reminder, guys, this is the one where Charlie is going to sleep and the mom is just singing about like, what would your dad do if he was here? And it's kind of a pointless song. And then she starts shadow dancing with her dead husband. And it is kind of cute at that point. But like we have the same song, but the dad is there and they're both saying, man, what would you do if your dad was here? What would you do if your mom's here? I'm like, you're both fucking here.
Go into the room.
Just knock on the door. Like the only thing I think I might have missed, I was trying to figure it out. I was just like, maybe they like she works the night shift, he works the day shift.
That's
they
what
meet each
I
other
assumed.
in passing, but they
That's
don't
what I
make it
assumed.
obvious.
No, they really don't. And we also have a letter from Charlie Bucket, which is the other worst song in the show, that is still in it.
That makes me so sad. I was kind of hoping that wouldn't be here. I did go,
dad gives him the
writing a letter, Mr. Wonka bullshit.
It's so dumb.
And is your homework done? That's my Charlie, that's my son song is still fucking in this I hate that. I wrote down that is the worst lyric in history, possibly. That's my Charlie, that's my son. Get the fuck out of here and go to Rhyme Zone Dictionary and just come up with literally anything else. Sorry, I got really heated about that.
Okay, so the Wonka bar thing happens, and it is kind of crazy because, like, we get a jump, so we don't know how the Wonka thing starts and, like, how the craze for Wonka bars is introduced because there's a jump in our opera glasses. And here's
we
one
blinked
thing,
for a very long time.
Here's something important to note. The children are actually played by children in this, which I would normally prefer. But in this musical, I actually think it was worse.
Yeah. And
I hate when adults play children, which is really fucking weird because my favorite musical is You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, which is literally all about adults playing children. But you know what? I'm a woman of multitudes, okay?
Yeah, we love that. We love that.
But for Willy Wonka, they're supposed to be annoying. It kind of works. And then I'm just like, I feel bad for this 8-year-old who is like having to be made fun of constantly every night. Anyway.
And the kids are just not interesting.
No, they're not. Jerry and Cherry are still the news correspondents, and More of Him to Love is the same. The worst part is this does away with the Wonka interludes, which is my favorite part of the Broadway musical.
Yes.
Where Christian Borle's like, "Oh my god, wouldn't it be great if you got a Wonka bar?" And he's like, "That would be awesome." And he's like, "Oh, sucks to suck." It's so good. I miss
like
it.
you said, like we weren't sure if the person at the beginning when Charlie is getting his trash is Wonka. Like to me, it wasn't super obvious. Like I feel like they did a better job in the Broadway version.
The only reason I assumed it was because of the Broadway prerequisite knowledge I had.
Exactly. Otherwise, without it, I would have just been like, it's a rando. You know, so I feel like I'm glad they played it up in the Broadway version because I think that is a fun, cool take on it that we don't see in other versions. And I like that it explains a lot more how this was devised to happen.
Yeah. I do want to make a brief statement about Violet Beauregard in this.
I'm so shocked.
No, okay, this is an actual serious statement.
Uh-huh.
So in this version, Violet also dies. And I just want to say, she is the only person of color in this musical, and she is immediately killed off. And it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah,
and it rubbed me the wrong way in the Broadway musical, and it's rubbing me more the wrong way now because she's literally the only one that dies.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, how did we not catch that this might be a little bit rough, guys?
We could have not, you know?
Maybe
at least,
we could have, maybe
if
she
died,
didn't have
she
to
couldn't have had
die.
all the stereotypes or something. You know what I mean? Like
it felt very stereotypical.
Yeah.
In a way that wasn't like they found the perfect actress for the role and it happened to fit. You could tell it was written that way from the beginning, and having her turn into a giant disco ball before blowing up just feels kind of weird. I'm just gonna say that.
It was an interesting thing.
I'm not the person to write the best and most intelligent critique of it, but just like,
there was something unsettling about it, but 2014 was a different time.
God. They immediately jump to Charlie's birthday. There's no fucking breaks. Like, it's just like, oh, Veruca won the bar. Happy birthday, Charlie! Take this! And then he's like, I didn't get it. Aw, what's this? The TV's still on! Violet is still American. She's a wannabe gum-chewing star. She gets the song Double Bubble Duchess. It's not as good of a song as Queen of Pop. Queen of Pop was great.
Queen of Pop is awesome. Yeah.
Double Bubble Duchess is more based on rapping, and it's fine, but you have like a Broadway trained person trying to rap, which is always rough no matter who it is.
Yeah.
But you do get the novel thing of you get the grandparents trashing the kids after every single song, which
good.
Is a crucial part of the book. Charlie says to his family to make them feel better about not going to the factory. He says, I don't even want to see the factory. It's just going to be a bunch of stupid machines, which I think is his best line in this entire musical.
That's fucking hilarious.
So then there's an actual video of a guy on the TV, and he says there's a Chalkmageddon, the way people are obsessed with it, which is a new fucking term. We haven't heard Chalkmageddon
New term.
Yet. But now we get to It's TV Time. And It's TV Time, I think, is the best version of this song. because they don't make him do a fucking rock and roll version. They actually have a Beastie Boys version, and it's great. The instrumental's still bad and comes out of nowhere, but anyway, what do you have to say about Mike TV?
Quote, "A shot of mummy water" was a great line. They mentioned his cigarettes, and I was like, LOL.
Yeah, so Mike TV burned a cat, knocked out a nurse with chloroform, stole a tank, and smokes 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
Like, I like how intense this Mike is. He's
Mike
crazy. Makes me laugh.
He hacked into Wonka's internet and like servers by using his password Golden Star.
Amazing, because he still hacks a system in the Broadway version, but I just really enjoy that we learn, like, I just tried.
And also having it played by an actual 9-year-old is very intense.
I was gonna say, that's when this is like, this is weird to talk about a child this way when it's like versus the adult doing it, but yeah, and also this is when we started like jumping around. We like skipped Augustus, I had realized, and all this stuff. And I wrote down the note, I would bother being confused, but that would mean I care, and I don't.
That's fair. And then this is where we got the "If Your Mother Were Here" song, that fucking awful bullshit. So that now we get the next song of Getting the Bar / Don't Ya Pinch Me Charlie. This was the best song of the musical, in my opinion, by far. And basically, rich people drop their money, and Charlie decides not to return it and buys himself a bar. And then Grandpa Joe has a huge fucking song about it. Grandpa Joe was in the 1948 Olympics. Grandpa George floats divorce. All of the grandparents got out of bed. Like, not even just Grandpa Joe, all of them do. They all get excited about being rich and posh, and they're like very excited about this opportunity in a way that I haven't really seen in any of the other Wonka ones. Like, normally the family's like, well, just go and be a nice, respectful little boy. And in this version, they're like, let's get fucking rich, man. And then the news reporter shows up, and it was the best song of the show. Now we're outside the factory. We go right to outside the factory. It is jarring.
Oh, my notes. I have absolutely no care about this as a bullet point after this section.
Gates are so much fancier in this version. Christian Wonka got fucking gypped. He deserved Gates the special for a special Wonka like him. Wonka really hasn't been in this at all. This is the first time we're really seeing him. And the news reporter gives this crazy intro, which gets you really fucking hyped. The news reporter was this huge fucking hype. He was like, the chocolate sensation sweeping the fucking nation. It's Willy fucking Wonka. And then, so we get It Must Be Believed to Be Seen. And this was my favorite song of the musical. And I wrote here, song is unchanged. Douglas Wonka's a lot more understated, like especially the part where he pretends to be an old man and then there's just, I was wrong, in all capital letters afterwards. This Wonka is not understated. This Wonka is cartoonish. Mm-hmm. This Wonka is wild.
Yeah, I wrote down, I'm not scared of this Wonka. I just feel like I would be secondhand embarrassed and awkward for him in the same presence, you know?
I wrote, he's like spitting out all the music and it kind of sounds like he needs to burp.
Oh, wow. That was such a truth. We need to sit in that for a moment.
The way they place the music rhythmically, the beat after where it comes in, he comes in a beat earlier than Christian Wonka, and it removes all the swing from the song, and it's so boring.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't get the dramatic old man costume change. He just is in silhouette.
Yeah, I really wasn't as impressed this time around. Like, I kind of zoned out for that section because I was like, I don't really think they're adding as much.
I wrote this, but it really looks like I wrote something religious because of Christian Wonka. Oh no, I do not like this. I do not like this at all. I'm trying to erase my preconceived Christian notions, but good Lord, even doing so, I am not into this. It made me sound like a devout Christian.
That was a bit much. I highly enjoyed it, but I'm glad we're self-aware.
This Wonka is kind of creepy, but just like, I don't want to hang out with them. He's fully screaming at the end of this song. I don't want to go in this factory.
I think my biggest thing is I'm just not intrigued by this Wonka.
There's no layers to this Wonka, you know?
No, it's just, it is what you see. There's no
There was also, the best part of It Must Be Believed to Be Seen's Broadway version is the instrumentation and the ensemble coming in on the last chorus, and that does not happen in this version, and it's such a fucking letdown. Mm-hmm. And then my final note was, I am concerned about the rest of this musical. Mm-hmm. I will say, my main issue with this Wonka is for a part that is so heavily based on wordplay. This man did not enunciate enough because I could not tell what he was saying, which was like very difficult because like that's half the part. Strike that reverse that comes in. Same songs before, there's these big arrows showing them where to wait. This is when I first got the vibe that like this is a show for kids. This Wonka does not feel like a person, whereas Christian Wonka, you're like, this is a guy. He's fucking weird, but this is a dude that exists.
Yeah.
This guy, if he existed in real life, you would never talk to him. Not that I don't demand nuance and realism in my Wonka, to be clear, but I think the character just becomes annoying without any sort of like humanity behind it. Especially because then they have songs where he's like very humanity focused, and you're like, where the fuck did this come from? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like that's the problem. It's like you don't have any like lingering mystery to this Wonka.
If I was a kid, I would have thought he was the villain of this. If I was watching this as an 8-year-old,
yes,
does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and they also dress him up that way because all the villains in our stuff have like intense, weird facial hair. You know, the mustache says, I'm up to no good. Sorry, Fickle Grubber hit the mic there.
So we get to the chocolate room, which looks so much fucking better than the Broadway version.
Really? Because I thought the chocolate river thing looked like bacon. To be fair, our opera glasses were fuzzy. But it just looked like straight up bacon. I couldn't get over that. I was very stuck on it.
Everyone is like, what do you mean it serves no purpose other than to look good? And he's like, I don't know, I like it. And he tells them, stay away from the waterfall. And then we get Simply Second Nature, which is the song that got replaced by Pure Imagination. And musically, the song was fine. And basically, he's saying he has an eye for aesthetics and is a born artist and much create things. But like the message is kind of weird. Because it basically, if you look at the lyrics, it's saying that you should be thankful that a select group of people have some sort of inbuilt talent for creation and innovation, which just kind of discourages kids from building it as a skill. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a muscle you can build and work on. So, but he was like, I am a God-given creator. It was really weird. Like, I was like, huh? What are you talking about?
Yeah, again, it just like doesn't fit with the Wonka persona we've been handed at this point. This Wonka felt incongruous to all the other versions I've seen. Mm-hmm.
I genuinely don't see how he fits in the canon, and I don't consider him one of our canon Wonkas. I'm sorry.
Same, which is shocking because he's literally in
a canon Wonka, but we refuse.
Wow.
The fact that we will take
black sheep of the family.
The fact that we will take fucking Christopher Wonkin, who doesn't even exist, and it's just because you said a name wrong as a canon Wonka, and we won't take him. Could you imagine how hurtful it would be to learn that the fucking puppet Wonka made it into canon before you did? And we say, no, your application got denied, Doug Wonka. You've been denied. And he's like, but Christopher Wonkin made it in. And I'm like, yes.
Because now how would you deny? How would you deny Christopher Wonka? Oh, God.
There's also a lyric in the song where he says, and though some nights I dread all the voices in my head. And it's like, okay.
It's like, we don't care. Get over yourself and go to therapy.
Augustus immediately falls into the river. Gloop tube comes down. Oompa Loompas aren't orange. Same Oompa Loompa puppetry. But
Still
Wonka screams, ladies and gentlemen, really loud to introduce them. Very dark. No fun Oompa Loompas on push trolleys. They're on pipes and lit in like this.
Still good choreography, I thought.
Elaine, I'm going to do it again. You know what it reminded me of? The 20s silent film Metropolis.
Yeah.
Have any of you ever seen Metropolis?
Uh-huh.
Genuinely, the first date I ever went on was to see Metropolis with a live organ player when I was 12.
Okay, what the fuck is the plot of this thing? A live organ player? What is this?
It was Metropolis. It was a silent film, and they had live accompaniment.
What's it about? Like,
it's about it's like a sci-fi movie.
Okay,
and it's all about industrialization and. I don't remember.
Is it a good date movie, or would you not recommend that?
No, it was weird.
Yeah,
it was weird. Both of us ended up gay, so.
Well, that's your fault for going to a niche film.
Yeah, we brought it upon ourselves, so yeah. I was really fucking pissed off. They made Augustus fart, which was fucking rude. He's already had his moment of shame. I didn't like it. I didn't see this. I looked up an image of the Oompa Loompas for clarity, and Augustus was crawling through the tube on top of the stage.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to put this in the drop zone for you.
Okay.
I do want to clarify, by the way, the Wonka in this is technically a very good singer. It's just the choices he made are confusing to me.
Yes. And I guess he walked so Christian Borle could run also, I think is a,
I don't think Christian Borle even saw this happen. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Okay, look in the drop zone. Do you see what is going on here with Augustus and the fucking Oompa Loompas?
Oh no. Actually,
It's
wait, I hate these
terrifying.
Oompa Loompas because the other ones didn't really have like human faces. They were still like
No, they
all
did. We just weren't looking
puppets.
close enough.
Oh well, thank God, because ew. Well, that's horrible. Can we delete this now?
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
can
gonna
get
do
rid of
that.
it. Okay, so
The
I pulled
inventing
out.
room.
No. I pulled out lyrical highlights from the
Oh,
Augustus
here
song.
we go.
We gotta go over it.
Okay.
This one is great. Gloop and soup, thar she blows. Wow.
That's our merch t-shirt.
So now we have another one, but he was not obedient. Now he is an ingredient. Did I pull that out last time? I think I pulled that out last time.
It's a good one.
Insane.
It's a good fucking one. Yeah.
Cut, dice, mince, slice, time to make the fudge. Don't throw the scraps away today, because we love candy pork. What? Okay.
Interesting.
And then it has the same he makes tasty fudge ending. Cool. Great. Inventing room. Let's talk about the inventing room. And the biggest part of this inventing room we need to talk about are the fucking robots.
The robots sent me.
What is going on with the robots?
I don't know, but I was like, you know what? I'm intrigued. It's something new. This is wild. Cool. And the robots like have a Wall-E vibe where they're like, oh, I'm sad. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure they were named Gravel and Bertha.
Interesting choice.
He was like, here's my robot Gravel. And then he was like, oh, hello, Bertha. And a fucking another one comes from off stage. And they are only in it for this 1 second bit and never show up again.
And then there's like fart jokes also heavily in this scene. The machines are making fart sounds. And there's just silence and giggling. And I'm like, this is,
They took a freight elevator up to the inventing room. This is more of an industrial vibe. The Oompa Loompas are mixing together ingredients from a giant wheel like a bingo game and randomly combining them. I didn't actually hate this Wonka when he was talking. I just didn't care. I didn't care.
I didn't care. I didn't care.
So Violet takes the gum. No tomato soup dripping down the throat. Very disappointing.
I wrote that down for you.
He did tell her not to get to the pudding, so I guess that's good. Wonka starts maniacally cackling as she eats it, which was kind of like he feels like a villain.
Yeah.
I read the lyrics online. And I want you to read this context note that was placed at the beginning of the lyrics for the song. As Violet spins around like a purple glitter disco ball, the Oompa Loompas break out their platform shoes to sing and dance of her fate. Excuse me? So we don't have any Oompa Loompa song like on Broadway, but one Oompa Loompa does the intro and is named Oompa DJ in the lyrics, which I think is the funniest part about this musical, because I laughed really hard when I read the words Oompa DJ. This was the song Juicy, which is her death song. She doesn't have any talent as far as we can see, but she wants to be a star. There's nothing she can do. So this brings back to the innate talent theory that was brought up earlier. Interesting. And then I was like, I'm not writing for Roald Dahl and philosophy. Shut the fuck up. I was like, we need to keep going.
I need to stop.
They also tell her to blow that mother up, which feels really aggressive. And
it's a bit much.
Yeah.
Especially if it means her death.
We'll scoop up every chunk and we'll serve her a la mode. Her favorite body parts will soon be yours for a fraction. Her insides flying overhead will be a distraction. And then her dad works to sell her out to Big Blueberry. He's trying to sell her out as a fruit salesman.
Oh my God.
And then she explodes.
But confetti falls from the ceiling onto everybody in the audience, which I thought was fun. It's like those big paper streamers. I was like, okay. Getting everyone interactive with it. I thought that was a fun touch because I like you said at this point, I'm like, this is very much a kid's show. I don't think it would have been appropriate in the Broadway version, but I feel like for a kid's show, I think that's fun.
It was fun, but it was it's something that when you step away from it does not hold up under a critical eye. Does that make sense?
The confetti or the rest of that scene?
No, just
I am sticking to the confetti. Separate from everything
fine.
else. Confetti falling from ceiling anytime.
No,
yes.
the
rest
confetti
of it
holds up.
Yeah,
everything else
the rest
is
of it, though, was the very intense, almost, more intense lyrics for these children than we have in the Broadway version for the adults playing children.
Yeah.
So far. It's a bit much.
I think I'm going to have to go pee to get through the rest of this, to be honest.
I love it.
So
okay, go ahead.
Be back.
This is an interlude.
So
for Felicia, she is so sweaty. All the liquids are wanting to leave her either through her sweat or through her urine. 'Cause she is in a recording for Wonka watch. And what that means is that we will be pausing all the time because we drink a lot of water, drink a lot of tea. We also never eat, so we get hungry. And then we'd like to chat, and so we get delayed. And that is that, and why this episode will probably be an hour and a half. Hopefully not. Actually, I feel like we're doing pretty well. But what will she do once we hit the final ending of this fucking musical that really made me mad because it should have not lasted as long as it did? I can't wait for us to go off our fucking rockers. We started this at 7:30 and now it's 9 o'clock. Don't start a Wonka podcast, or you will lose your mind and it will never be fine again. All of your friends will send you Willy Wonka things. You'll never have a normal hangout again. And when you have to explain your podcast and you say it's Willy Wonka as an adult, and other adults look at you and they go, what the fuck? And you have to be like, I know. And then you feel shame, but you're excited at the same time. That's the joy of having a Wonka podcast. I do a Phil Collins parody for you right now, but I can't really think of enough. I want to know, can you show me? I want to know all the Wonkas like me. I want to know, can you show me?
Sorry,
I want to be like the Wonkas like me.
So, Veruca time. They're just kind of running through the factory with a moving background behind it, and then they just get to the nut room, and all the nuts are rolling around, and the speakers blare out "Bad Nut" in the loudest voice you ever heard in your entire life. It sounded like it would have traumatized me as a kid. Production design wise, room this cool. Whoa. What did I just say?
I don't know.
Production design wise, this room is cool. And the squirrel death ballet in this version, I will say I thought was cooler. Instead of having theme park mascot costumes, it's full puppets with Oompa Loompas riding on squirrels.
That was insane. Which
was fucking insane, but it was pretty sick. And she does not get torn apart limb from limb and just falls down the chute, this is where I was like, hold on, now why is only Violet dying? That's kind of, why is she the only one who died? That feels a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, she's the only one who explicitly died. She fucking exploded. There's nothing
else.
You're not recovering from that.
Yeah, and again, as we will continue to say on this podcast, our stance is, did she really do anything wrong?
Really? No.
Did she really do anything wrong?
Not really, in the scheme of things.
No. I was sad that Veruca wasn't Russian. I just thought that was kind of a fun twist because we haven't seen that in other canon, and I thought the way they had done it in Broadway was really fun and interesting. So coming here, I was a little bored, mostly because we've seen it, we know it. But I did, like you said, I enjoyed the Oompa Loompas riding the squirrels on a set. It was, I don't even know how to explain it. I'll be posting that on Instagram, so head over there, guys, to see this picture. It's wild. People's imaginations, man.
Yeah, so no joke, they get on a boat in Phantom of the Opera. And they're just kind of going around. Way. They literally got in the Phantom boat. And they're going around the bottom of the stage. There's no really crazy boat scene. This Wonka doesn't go crazy or anything. And Wonka's these are my failed creations. Square sweets that look round. Easter bacon and jelly babies. Okay.
I did think that was fun. I liked going through, these are all the ones that fucking sucked. And
so they go to the outside of the TV room. There's a bunch of huge warning signs, and most of the TV room scene got cut in the recording we're watching. So maybe it was good. I don't know. But the effects were really cool. The song is still vignettes, though. And it's how did this song not get cut in the rewrites? Because the song is so fucking bad. It's the worst.
Yeah, it's not cute.
They also have a bunch of screens on the show, so it's the old one. They still got the weird, tasteless jokes about ADHD in this original version, and this song is bad. This was in the Broadway version, but I didn't catch it this time. Each day they text on their new toy, their thoughts and their location, but OMG, will this destroy the art of conversation? And knowing that this musical was originally written in 2013, it makes the song make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I will say the one good line of the song that saves it a little bit is when they say his new address is Mike.com.
That was good. I highly enjoyed that.
But the way they staged this is really cool. It was very well done.
And also, I will never get... I will forever love Mike TV hand puppet.
Yes, that part is sick.
And the scream he does every single time. I'm like, it's still like a body horror, terrifying moment when the mom's like, I'm going to take care of you forever. And he's just screaming off stage. But just like the little puppet that gets me every time. For someone who hates puppets, I highly enjoy that.
I genuinely skimmed through the ending of this musical. So I don't really know what happens in the room because I didn't give a fucking shit anymore. The one Wonka line that was memorable to me throughout this entire musical is when Wonka goes, "This is why I gave up raving." I don't know what that's related to.
That was such a throwaway line that I was like,
but
again,
it was the
like
most interesting line he said throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, there were definitely less jokes happening in this entire thing also.
This wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny. And then I think they did stuff like that, but I was like, there was no other reason for me to think that this would be plausible for him.
Yeah, it made no sense. Now, if Christian Wonka said, "This is why I gave up raving," I would have lost my fucking mind. It's like, of course you raved.
Yeah, it would have fit. Of course you were a ravester. So well.
Wonka yells at him, "Don't touch anything. Didn't you see what happened to the other kids?" I will say, though, the glass elevator looks fucking amazing in this. So the same thing happens as the old one. They have the whole fucking paper airplane. He writes in the notebook, yada, yada. Pure Imagination comes in. And I will say, he did a really good job with this song. I have no qualms with his performance on Pure Imagination. He was great.
Oh, no one laughed at the Wonka Grandpa Joe fight, by the way.
Really?
That's supposed to be it. No one laughed. So in the original Broadway version, there's just this moment where Wonka's like, "You can't." Wonka's like, "Okay, you're done, whatever." And Grandpa Joe does the classic thing where he's like, no, give him something he won. And then they get to do a little fist fight almost, fisticuffs. And it's really funny, except in this version, no one laughed. And it was just kind of like, I was like, that's awkward.
Because kids didn't get the reference, and the show was like so unfunny that the adults had their eyes rolled back into their skull at that point.
They probably just were zoned out at that point trying to drink their mommy juice, you know?
What happens in the Christian Borle version is they go in the glass elevator, we get view from up here, we get a nice sweet ending, and the musical's over. This musical is not fucking over.
It didn't end.
It didn't. I thought we were done. Worse. This is the worst ever. So
this ruins it.
Yeah, it really ruins any narrative arc we had. So we first have a little me, and Wonka says, "You're the new Willy Wonka," and Charlie's like, "What? What the fuck am I? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing." So Wonka really embraces the whole mold a child in his image thing. The Oompa Loompas do get names in this, which I thought was kind of cool. Like, they have first names and they're referred to by name. That's one prop I'll give them. That's nice.
Yeah.
Here's one of the lyrics from this. "It's what you do not own that sets you free. It's the lessons still unlearned in the corners yet turned that makes you, you, and a little me." It's like, they really said, you know that whole weird line about embrace and mold a child in my image? Let's write a whole song about it.
Yeah. Do you know what people really care at this point, and they're dying to know after this 2-hour fucking musical? It's how is Charlie gonna be a little businessman?
You know what they want to know about? They want to know if he gets the Wonka stirring spoon. He does, ladies and gentlemen. A sculptor wants no hardened clay. He wants his mud to bend and sway. And this is what a child can do. And this line is fucked. Okay, listen to this line. "But not just any careless child, too fat or spoiled or crass or wild." Which really says the quiet part about the Augustus thing out loud here, because a lot of people like to pretend that it's not because of, like, deep-seated fat phobia.
Yeah, but
the whole Augustus thing, and that he's, like, overindulgent and he doesn't take... And, you know, I think it's a fair thing to say. He should have listened when Wonka said, "Don't touch the chocolate river. That's a major health violation." But 90% of the time, they're like, it's mostly adults hating on this fat kid for no reason.
Yeah.
And this is the first one that said specifically the problem is that he's fat. And I was like, oh, Jesus. Okay. Cool, guys. Then the last line of the song is, "It's all the things you aren't that make you what they are," which it just really admits that Charlie Bucket has no fucking character.
Yeah. And this song is also like pretty upbeat. So we had that what's the song
this
before
is like
the
a
glass
jaunty
elevator song?
Like,
so what is it? The View Up Here is the previous one in the glass elevator. That
no, it's just Pure Imagination.
Okay. So you end on this beautiful emotional note, and you're like, "Oh, this is so good." And then this song just kind of makes you feel like, do we have 5 more songs left? Because there's 2 more songs. Like, there's that song and 1 more song. And it's just like, why would you not end with your banger?
So the conclusion you come away from that song is okay, he's going to be a mentor for Charlie. He's gonna teach this kid.
So glad we had 3 fucking minutes to say that. 3 fucking minutes.
No, but that's what you take away. But instead what happens is that Wonka immediately fucking abandons him.
Gone. And they're like, where'd he go? Where'd he go?
It turns out he's the guy from the beginning. Big shocker. And he's like, hooray, never have to go in my fucking factory again. And it does not give you the warm fuzzies like the other one. The other musical gave me the warm fuzzies at the end. I was like, man, this is wholesome. This is very sweet.
You don't have the background. I feel like Christian Wonka was able to have more of a, I kind of wish I got to like, be part of this, and like you see more of the love for the factory. Whereas with this one, I'm like, you cared? I didn't know you cared.
And it's a reprise of It Must Be Believed to Be Seen in a minor key. And Charlie Buck's like, how the fuck am I going to run this factory? Meanwhile, Willy Wonka fucking evaporates into dust. Not a joke.
That was a really cool, I will say. That was really fucking cool.
The lyrics of the song is, there comes a time to leave the past behind you, and amongst you is a good place to hide. So out there in the shadows, I remind you, there may be Willy Wonka by your side. And I wrote, this feels like his evil plan has been pulled off, but what was the plan? I'm so confused. Because it really feels like a villain achieving their goal. Like, it's this very grim ending.
You just never got to know the whole...
disappears. His cloak collapses, and he disappears into the floor, potentially evaporating. Very cool effect.
So cool. Like, he's just standing there, and then, like, the drum hits, and the whole costume goes down, and you're like, oh, where'd he go? That was fucking insane.
And then the show's just fucking over. That's it.
It's over. And you were at the emotional peak at the high, and it was like
Wonka, because it made him acknowledge the fact that, like, yes, Charlie, you don't know how to run a chocolate factory, but don't worry, you can learn from me. Anyway, I'm gonna go fuck off and disappear into a pile of dust. Have fun.
Yeah, it was just like finishing a really good book and then having to read 5 pages of an instruction manual. Like, why would you tack that on at the end? My notes by the end of this goes, I'm just pissy at this point and hungry. Please be done. Please. Why is this still going on? Jesus. No, fuck. Why is this really still going on?
Literally.
I was so over it. Like,
and also, genuinely, biggest missed opportunity is Wonka should have turned into the fucking Tinker Man. Right? Aren't you kidding? Like, I know they were trying to not use the 1971, but that would have been great.
Why isn't he? Oh my God, that would have been so good.
He should have been the Tinker Man of nobody ever goes in and nobody ever goes out. It would have been great. And I know they weren't trying to, like, but that would have been a way to fan service the adults of the 1971 movie and still have the kids enjoy it without cheapening your own
because musical. Everyone is as big a fan and knows the Tinker Man as much as we do. They would have been like, that's the Tinker Man.
You know who Willy Wonka should have turned into? He should have turned into the fucking computer guy.
The iconic computer guy, obviously, that everyone remembers when they think of the classic Willy Wonka kid. This is one of those moments where I'm like, fuck us. I hate us right now. The fact that that's how it has to be for us, and we have to take a pause and be like, this isn't normal. This isn't normal. This isn't how it's supposed to be. We're fine. Everything's normal.
That's again on the musical. Did we learn anything? No. I feel like I wasted my fucking time. That was the worst.
It was the worst. Like, thank God they like updated it. I'm just trying to see if I really hated this experience. I genuinely, like you said, the set design was more intricate, but I didn't think it was more interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think just because there was more, like the Broadway version there literally was like 15 minutes of no set, just a door frame in the Broadway version.
Christian Borle is so fucking compelling that he doesn't even need a set.
He didn't even need it.
Christian Wonka ate everybody up because he said, I don't even need a set. I'll do 15 minutes in an invisible maze and it'll be better than this entire musical.
I think the cast had better chemistry in that. I don't know. I think everyone was able to better feed off of each other. Well, I think they had better material to work with, but also I think it was just, and this might be where the adults come in. This is not the kids' fault. I just feel like you're able to have more of that. Like,
it's true because the thing with kids is they have to switch out between 3 or 4 different performers. So a different kid plays the role every night. So there's less of a rapport developed between everyone.
Okay,
which you're right. It was a lot smoother in that regard. And you know what? Seeing a version without the invisible maze sequence kind of made me appreciate the invisible maze sequence. I kind of missed it.
Yes, same. Because I remember I was like ragging on it a little bit when we first saw it, but now I'm like, honestly, that's fucking hilarious.
I wish it was here. I could have used that levity, man.
Oh my God.
It made me appreciate a lot about the Broadway version. I feel very similarly to how I did about Tom and Jerry Wonka.
What did you like better, Tom and Jerry Wonka or West End Wonka?
Tom and Jerry Wonka. if I had to watch one again, I would rewatch Tom and Jerry Wonka because it's at least different. And to be honest, I wrote a fan fiction about Tom and Jerry Wonka, so I kind of like him now. I made myself endeared to him. I invented a fiction where him and old Wonka are living together as an old married couple, and now I'm like, you know what? Maybe he's not so bad. I don't think I will be giving a Doug Wonka a redemption arc like that. Watch fucking Doug Wonka email us.
Hi, Doug. We just want to say that 2013 was a different time.
It's the choices that were made throughout the musical.
Yes,
okay?
No. You were talented. This is what you were given, and you did the best with what you had. You know,
no, yeah, you didn't have much to work with. I was assuming the Wonka performance would be really similar to Christian Wonka, and I was gonna have to be like forcing myself to understand like they were different and like not just favor Christian Wonka because he was the one I saw first. Like I thought they were gonna be a lot more similar. When I was like, no, these could be not more different Wonkas. Like I had no worry about. You know, I feel like my opinion is not tainted.
Yeah. Well, that's done. I don't have any final thoughts aside from, God.
I really don't either.
We're done. We're done.
We're done.
We're done. Everybody, pat on the back, claps around. We got through it. We got through every single fucking main canon. Everything after this is either sequel stuff or just
derivative works.
Wild. Honestly, even if there was ever, you know, a full Minions Willy Wonka, it would feel different. You know what I mean? Like, we're done with all the exact same fucking shit. God, I didn't know how relieving that would feel. I feel so good now.
It feels really good.
I feel cleansed.
Everything from here on out is derivative, and I'm saying that as a fucking compliment. I'm so fucking happy it's derivative.
I'm so happy. I'm so excited because we thought when we finished Johnny Wonka, we felt pretty good. We knew the musicals were coming. We put them off for that. But I remember when we finished Johnny Wonka, because we'd done the book at that point, we were like, oh my gosh, we're free. How young and naive we were. God, I'm so happy. Okay, well, yeah, you know, I think what we've learned is fuck if I know. I don't know. The end.
Predictions. It's predictions time. I know what mine is. Do you want me to go? Do you want me to say my predictions?
Go ahead. Yeah.
There is going to be some sort of small device that's like a robot in this. So it's very like Gertha and Gravel. Bertha and Gravel doesn't fucking matter. They're not canon, but maybe there'll be some sort of robot thing. I don't fucking know, guys. I learned nothing from this.
My prediction
is that if you suggest another Instagram, I'm gonna Instagram. If you suggest another instrument, I'm gonna throttle you.
So I'm not going to, but I am as a secondary thing. I'm going to make that my new thing where I genuinely choose one. No, I think I've already said piccolo. Anyway, my main one was just going to be that I think someone is going to spill something on themselves. So specifically on their clothing. Okay. Something will be spilled on their clothing. In a like, it will leave a stain, not just like, oh, my sandwich fell in my lap and I picked it up and it's fine. It'll be like, you know, your coffee fell on you. The whipped cream is on you and you're like, oh gosh, that's annoying. And I'm going to say that something spilled. I'm going to accept maybe mud is spilled from something. You know what I mean? Like you're holding up a bucket and it falls on you. So it's not just food related. I'm keeping it vague because we need to get a win.
So will this count if Timmy Wonka falls in mud? Because I feel like that's realistic as well.
I think that needs to be a separate prediction. I'm making that separate. Okay. Spill is different than fall. And I think fall could, you know.
Timmy Wonka's clothes get dirtied?
This is my prediction, and I need you to back
I am
off.
Making a separate prediction that Timmy Wonka's clothes will get dirtied at some point throughout this movie musical. Please and thank you, put it in the fucking books.
I'm going to have a prediction that my stuffed animal thickle grubber is going to end up with 5 outfits by the end of this podcast.
I'm making another prediction. I will have to pee at least twice while I'm seeing Wonka, and it's going to cause a real problem for me.
I'm genuinely afraid of the listener emails we're going to get once this movie actually fucking comes out.
We're going to have to lock ourselves down for about a week.
Yeah, we're going to be like, okay, sorry, we have to go through hundreds of emails each day now, which, like, exciting, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be, like, so many...
You just wait until Wonka comes out and you'll regret anything you ever said bad about this podcast. You'll see.
Douglas Hodge, we're looking at you. You're our biggest hater, and you're going to regret the day that you discounted us.
We know you're a Tony winner. We don't care. We don't care, Douglas Hodge.
We don't care. We know about trains. Choo-choo, bitch.
I will be perfectly honest, though. Douglas Hodge would be great as a railway master in Harvey Girls.
Okay. Hey, Douglas Hodge.
I know we
would
just
like to read
trashed your entire whole thing for like 70 minutes, but have you ever considered playing a railway conductor?
Now, hear me out. Hear me out. Christian Borle as Mr. Harvey.
Am I supposed to?
It fits.
Do we want Mr. Harvey to be hot though?
Look, I'm not gonna lie. There is a vibe to Mr. Harvey where I feel like he needs to have like a vibe of attractiveness.
Like he's definitely cheating on his wife.
Yeah. Like I definitely foresee like a bathtub scene with bubbles and him doing like a Winston Churchill thing, conducting business from his thing. Because I mean, is Mr. Harvey going to be evil in this thing? Because I don't know if he actually is.
Have a big mustache? Can he please have a little curly mustache?
This is a fictional history thing. Fuck yeah, he can have a curly mustache. We can do whatever we want.
Guys, we're going to DC in a few months, and I'm really excited because we're probably going to make some spy-related musical as well, so this canon is just going to keep getting bigger.
It's going to be so good, and I have an iPad now, so I have better function to GarageBand, and I will be starting to make back beats, and we're going to make this happen, because the only person, we still haven't had any listeners reach out about the Harvey Girls, which is fine. I continue to not feel hurt by that. I don't know why you wouldn't care for a Willy Wonka podcast to care about this specific small ass thing in history.
It's like, yes, it's a niche historical event that we are inappropriately representing, inaccurately representing with reckless abandon.
Exactly. So, I mean, we can do whatever we want. And we can really emphasize, like, it's historical fiction. They existed, and then it's nothing like. If Under the Tuscan Sun book versus movie can literally be such different plots, they aren't even the same thing, and yet you can enjoy both. That's how I feel about this.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
thank you everybody for listening to this episode of Wonka Watch. I hope you got any enjoyment out of this episode, because we didn't.
No.
If you want to email us opinions, thoughts, concerns, suggestions, give us a quick write us a little ditty at wonkarapture@gmail.com. You can also contact us on Instagram at WonkaWatch and check us out on TikTok at WonkaWatch. Is there anything else we're supposed to say?
Hey, if you want to support this podcast, again, Felicia and I are about to be in person for the first time in a year. So if we're able to make it happen, we might be able to do certain things. Okay. And to do that, we would love to have some funding. So you can go to buymeacoffee.com/WonkaWatch if you'd like to buy us a chocolate bar, so to speak. And everything goes back into this podcast and making it super fun, awesome, cool stuff. Because again, we have a lot of cool ideas like that board game y'all are so obsessed with. We can't do it virtually. And it needs to be a video. Like, we can't do it. We're good at describing things, but we're not that good. Like, we're
not that good.
We're not that
I don't think that would be fun for anyone involved.
No. But the good thing is, like, really, at the end of the fucking day,
it's not that important.
This fucking wasn't important whatsoever.
You know what, Elaine, though? You know what is important?
What is?
You said it right for the first time.
Okay,
in like a month and a half.
Been a couple episodes where I said it really doesn't matter, and I think that was more of a reflection on how I felt about my life in that current time period. I'm
really proud of you.
Thanks.
It's not that important.
Thanks. Not that important.
Bye, guys.
Bye.